The episode where we talk about when things go wrong, and we hope that, well, this one goes right. If it's Tuesday, well, forget it. You know what I'm going to say. Anyway, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. Mike, I just don't have the energy to do the whole intro this time.
If it's Tuesday, you know it's Tuesday.
You know it's Tuesday, and you know where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be right here talking with me and Mike. Mike, you look like you're looking down on me. Why do I have the feeling that you are in a superior position?
I am looking down on everyone today.
Are you standing on like the top rope or something?
I decided to get on my soapbox, get on my little ivory tower, and just look down on everyone today.
I genuinely appreciate your honesty with that. You know, Mike, tonight we're going to talk about when things go wrong. R-O-N-G, wrong.
Wrong. Yep.
And that is going to be it's going to be a personal episode, Mike. It's going to be deeply personal because things went R-O-N-G wrong with me. And when you think about the craft and business of making comics, you always think about the end product, what went right, that physical book in your hands. But more often than not, something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, you always think when you're thinking of what's going to happen, you're like, oh, it can't turn out that bad, and then sometimes it does.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I rarely look at my published work because all I see are the mistakes. I see what went wrong that I did wrong. I see what went wrong that could have gone better in different steps of the process, and I have certain trade paperbacks that were collection editions that I have never unsealed.
Why?
I can't look at them.
But do you know they're going wrong at the time, or are you looking at them saying, oh, I could have done that better, not knowing at the time?
I sometimes a little of both, but you don't really know until the final product, right? Like you work in film and television, like sometimes things come out better than expected, sometimes worse than expected. And it's like when I step out of the shower and I'm in the full length mirror, I just can't look. I catch a glance and I go, what happened?
Oh, well, yes.
What happened?
I do that when I look in the mirror. I don't even have to look in the full length. I just look at the neck up and I'm like, what went wrong? What happened?
Went wrong? And I have to tell you what went wrong. There's so much that went wrong. I have a case study of what went wrong and what we as comic book professionals can do about it, Mike. And then you have a couple of humorous examples to maybe make me feel a little better, maybe lift my spirits.
That's what I'm here for. Try to make you feel better, bud.
And also, if you don't mind, lifting the spirits. My father, he is our most loyal viewer and is watching tonight. He had to get some dental work done in which they had to yank out teeth.
Oh, that's never fun. I've had
No. So he is suffering the pains of tooth removal. So hello to my father, who I hope you feel better, Dad.
Mr. Scalera, wishing you well.
Wishing you well. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough couple of days for him. Just imagine.
Oh,
not one, I think 4 he had.
It's never fun. Never fun.
Never fun.
Did you have your wisdom teeth out?
I did not. Did you?
Oh, see, I did. I had to get mine out, and mine were impacted and sideways. So not only did they just have to go in there and yank them, they had to cut into them and cut them up in little pieces and pull them out like that, and then get all stitched up. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, I hope that my dad is feeling better and watching the show. And my dad does not know the story of the thing that went wrong, so he will be experiencing it live with everyone here. Mike, you've heard a bit of this story, but it gets worse as it goes. So, Mike, real quick, talk to me. What are some of your holiday traditions?
You mean like for Christmas, having the family over for dinner?
Sure. Give me a few of your holiday traditions.
Well, we have the family over for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go sometimes sleigh riding in the winter when I was back in New York. We take all the kids out, and in the summertime we'd go out into the backyard, maybe shoot some BB guns for like Easter, any of the warmer holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Like food stuff, we always have.
There are lots of food stuff.
Lots of food stuff.
Gatilla weighs in with, I had impacted wisdom teeth removed 20 years ago and noted no straws for 2 weeks. That 20 years ago, he remembers no straws for 2 weeks. That's what a memory that leaves. Yeah. So, Mike, I have a holiday tradition, one that plays directly into my personal obsessive compulsive personality. No surprise to you. In between Christmas and New Year's, I have a holiday tradition of file cleanup.
Oh yeah, see, I don't do that.
You know,
that's not a holiday tradition.
It is a holiday tradition. And Glenn also noted, and he got dumber too. It was with first time anybody's used that joke. So anyway, I have a holiday tradition. I take all the files that have been in my download folder or something that I've slid over or that are sitting on my desktop, and then I take all the different hard drives that I have and I try to make sure everything is organized. That is my between Christmas and New Year's tradition, one of many. Mine also involves food. I didn't get to this weight by not involving food. So this year, as in previous holidays, I did my holiday tradition of reorganizing my files. It takes the entire week transferring files. Now, I have thousands of photos from my photo reference book, thousands of photos from my comic book school live events. We have videos, all the comic book school videos that I transferred meticulously from videotape over, putting this all on so that it is prepared and organized. So the way I did it was like this. So it was Backup Palooza.
Okay.
That's where we play lots of great music and we just let the computer transfer. It's very satisfying, by the way, Mike, to set a file to transfer and just watch it go over 4 hours. Because remember, when we first got computers, it took a long time to transfer a file, right? Like we would be like, oh, I'm going to upload this. When I get back from lunch, it'll be uploaded.
Yeah.
Right?
That was like a 2 meg file too.
Right. There's no satisfaction like that, except at this scale. And on this scale, I have the extreme pleasure of watching thousands of files transfer. So I know that computer is working on my behalf.
Yeah. So you just plug in the external and let it go.
Just let her rip. But I'm going to have to tell you, I'm going to give you the lay of the land. So the lay of the land looks like this. So I had lots of files. That is a technical term, Mike. I know I work in the technology industry. I had lots of files. So I had 3 primary hard drives that are in encasements just like this. This being one of them.
Okay.
And it was actually labeled Atlas 6T. Because I name all of my external hard drives after warships out of the Battlestar Galactica television show.
That is interesting. That is not something I would have expected out of you.
No. So I have Phobos and Atlas and Artemis. So each of these hard drives is loaded. And I am basically shuttling things from the 4 to the 5, the 5 to the 6, and what the 6 is sizing up to be the primary hard drive that will be the hard drive I use every day. I'm only going to leave one plugged in. You have multiple hard drives. They're going to sleep at different times. You keep one in. If you need something that you don't use as often, you put it on the 5 or on the 4.
Okay.
Now, what I started to do is relegate the 4 to backups, and I would label it, and I know it's going to probably be hard for you to remember. I label each of them BU and then the folder name.
BU, does that stand for
Boston University? So is backup. So I'm backing up, I'm moving, I'm grooving, and after I move something, I delete the backup and I'm moving. I realize I don't have enough room on my primary 6 terabyte hard drive. Mike.
Well, I can see that because you're having a 5 and a 4, and that adds up to more than 6.
Yes. And hold on. So technical, the terminology, right? Lots of files.
Yep.
Gatilla, so say we all. Nerd. This is coming from Redheaded Ed. She's calling me a nerd. Yeah, there you go. You're at European Union, not EU. BU, backup. Anyway, I'm doing the backup, and I'm doing it here in the United States, not in the European Union, right? Just to play off the humor of our group. Just to give you some context, Mike, I went on the internet. This. 6 terabytes is equivalent to 6,000 gigabytes or 6 million megabytes. If you remember, we would get those little floppies, and they were 2.5 megabytes.
Yep.
When I bought my first home computer, it had a 20 megabyte hard drive, and I told my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, this is the last computer I'll never need to buy.
I remember buying my first computer. It was 20 meg hard drive, and I was like, it's so huge.
It's so huge, I'll never fill it. Gatilla says, you are not networking these files. This is how the Cylons won.
Oh.
Actually, I am taking the Galactica strategic approach, Glenn, and disconnecting drives so that they are not networked and the Cylons cannot infiltrate them.
Good plan. Mm-hmm.
That's why they use the regular phone, and they always use it upside down. This is Galactica. I don't know why they always put the phone upside down. Okay, so 6 terabyte hard drive. Store about 1.2 million high-quality photos at an average
a lot of photos.
5 megabytes per. Let's face it, nobody has 5 megabyte photos anymore. They're much larger than that. Let's just say that it's like double that. Roughly 22,000 hours of standard definition video at an average bit rate of 3 megabytes per second. Now, this is a little bit old information. It's probably double that. So we're talking only half of that 1.2 million and maybe a third of that 2,000 hours. So maybe 800 hours and about 1,000 hours of high definition video, even 6 megabytes per second. A little, this must have been old, but suffice to say, I had tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of photographs. One of the things I did with the photographs, I after my mom passed, I scanned all the photos so that the family would have them. And then faced with all this paper, I just threw it out. All the photos that I had of you and me and having fun and doing the B-Files movie and doing Comics Vision, scanned them and threw them out. So you kind of getting a sense of where this is going to go.
It sounds like it's going to be a happy ending.
It's going to be a very happy ending. So then they send the hot blonde. I've been there. So Glenn may be a Cylon.
The hot blonde, yes, I believe she was a Cylon.
Yeah, she was the first Cylon. First scene of the movie, first scene of the series, she kisses the guy because she wanted to see what it was like to kiss a human. Remember that?
I didn't really get into that.
Time to rewatch. So what do? First strategy is I buy a 16 terabyte hard drive.
That's a lot of terabytes.
That's a lot of terabytes. I don't know how many files I can put on there, but I know that I can put just about everything that I have because I have a 5 and a 4 and a 9 plus 6 is 15. That still leaves me room for a 16. So if I filled everything up, I am ready to rock it. And I got a hell yeah. Now I got a hell yeah from Redheaded Ed. We're talking real serious space. $259, Mike. That's
a pretty good deal.
Just as context, when Mike and I were working for Comics Vision, we had gotten a grant from the state, true story, and we got $10,000. And with that, $20,000, and the 10,000 of that was to pay for the computer.
Really?
10,000 of it was to pay for the
Me.
RAID array hard drive. It had three 3-gigabyte hard drives, and it cost us $10,000.
That's a long time ago and a lot of money.
That was a lot of money at the time. So just getting a sense that for $10,000, we were able to get 9 gigs. Now I have 16 terabytes.
For $259.99, it's a pretty good deal.
What could possibly go wrong, Mike? So what I do is I say, here's the plan. The hard drive has 6 terabytes on it. The 16 terabytes hard drive has 0 terabytes, but it has a capacity of 16 terabytes. So being taught that good file hygiene is important, I go into my 16 and I make sure that it is formatted and clean and renamed. I click format and something weird happens. I formatted the wrong drive.
No, you did not.
So now the 6 terabyte hard drive has 0 terabytes of data on it. And the 16 has 0 terabytes of data on it. I literally took everything important and put it on one drive so that I could back it up. And I deleted it by accident.
Now, when you first had an inkling that this happened, what was your reaction? Were you like, that doesn't look right? Did you just sit and stare at the computer?
Has anyone here recommended Kablam? Yes, we have. They're a good printer.
Kablam is.
Yeah. OMG.
OMG is right.
Was the moment where I went like this, Mike. So I looked at it and I went, yeah. I was going to drink my coffee first, but then I was like, you know what? This thing's going to be running for all day. I'm going to set it and then I'll make my coffee. So I did this without drinking my coffee first.
Oh, that's why.
So I go upstairs and I get the coffee and I sit down and I sip and I go, that can't be right. So I click the hard drive. That can't be right. And then I go, I have an idea. I must have something wrong. So I unplug all the other drives except for this one. And I go, I must have renamed a drive. I unplugged the 16. I unplugged the 5. I unplugged the 4. And I'm like, my trusty 6. I didn't zero it out. And I zeroed it out.
Oh, see, that's a hurtful comment.
And we're going to put up Redheaded Ed's comment again. OMG.
Exactly.
It was. So I go upstairs and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have some breakfast because you know what? I eat my problems away.
What'd you have for breakfast?
We all know that. No one should ever be surprised that I eat during stressful moments. So I start to eat my problems away and I'm like, this can't be right. At this point, I'm eating oatmeal, right?
Oh, oatmeal's good for you.
Oatmeal's very good for me. And so's a backup hard drive.
Yes.
Backup hard drive's good for me.
Yeah. A couple of them.
So I plug all the hard drives in again, run the routine and say, this can't be right. I restart the computer and think, there's got to be something wrong. In the end, Mike, I was right. I took all of my most important photos. So let's just give you a little bit of sense of what that is. Every comic I've ever written, every script, every comic that I've ever produced, every TIFF, Photoshop file, logo, font, PDF backup file, everything I've ever done for comic book school, all of the backups for the anthologies, all of the files that relate to every scan I've ever made, every photo of my dear departed mother, every video of my dear departed mother, our videos from Comics Vision, all of my work related to marketing presentations which incidentally, a lot of people don't know this. I speak on marketing topics, and here's a little humble brag here. Actually, it's a big brag. I've traveled the world because people wanted to see me speak. I don't know why. They've never invited me back twice, but they want to see me the first time. All those presentations are gone. All deleted with one click.
Okay, I have a question.
Hold on, let's just see. At least I have the backups of the anthology. All right.
That's good.
Okay.
Now, what did you do with all the stuff that was on the 4 and the 5 drives?
So I was eliminating duplication, Mike. I was eliminating duplication so that I didn't have 2 copies of the same file and then edit one and then, so I was like, okay, I really got, and I don't need, so video takes up a lot of space. I don't need doubles of the videos, but I wanted to have a backup. But that's what the 16 was for.
Yeah, but you just say you took something off of the 4 and you moved it right to the 6 and then deleted the stuff on the 4?
Of course. I didn't have enough hard drive space. It wasn't until I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to need a massive drive that I can contain all of these. So the 3 of them add up to 15.
Yes.
Or actually 16. They add up to 16 exactly. They each have a little bit of space. I can do a perfect backup.
And then you didn't.
And I didn't. I'd like to give a shout out to my dad who's watching right now, probably sitting from his chair thinking that he was having a lot of pain from the teeth that he had pulled. This is my pain, Dad. This is my pain. So how does the story end, Mike?
I hope it ends well.
It does not. So what do you do when you hit this moment? So exactly the question, Mike. I had the 5 and the 4. I did have a few backups left on the 4, cleverly backed up with the word BU for backup, not EU, but BU. So backup. So I'm like, don't delete anything. Now I'm like, don't touch. So I gently plug the 16 in and transfer everything from the 4 to the 16.
Okay.
And then I gently plug the 5 in and I transfer everything over. Now I have the redundancy. And then I unplug the 5 and the 4 and I put them over there so that I can't accidentally format them again.
Far away from you.
Far away. Then, and this is what you should do when you have a cataclysmic mess up as I have had. And I should say mess up was the word I used. And I said fiddlesticks because I would never use profanity, Mike.
No, obviously not.
No. First thing I did is I went into my Google Drive. So do you use Google Drive, Mike?
No, I do not use Google Drive. I probably should.
I use Google Drive, a little bit of OneDrive, not much, a little bit of Dropbox, not much. I pay for Google Drive. And I always do the opposite. Yeah, no, nobody backs up correctly and everybody, but the one time I think I'm going to do this right, I don't.
That was your downfall.
That was my downfall. I have duplicate files for days, and so do I. So
no, not anymore.
Then I go to Dropbox, and then I go to AWS. Mike, what's AWS?
All week spaghetti.
That's right. All week spaghetti, and sometimes referred to as Amazon Web Services.
Oh, okay.
So I had the foresight to back up. Now it's going back a little while. I don't have recent backups. A lot of our videos, which take up a lot of space, and put them on AWS. And I put them into what's called deep glacier mode, which means I don't pay a lot for it. So I have about 10 terabytes of data, and I pay about $4.50 a month on AWS to just leave it there in case I delete something.
Like cryogenic freezing.
It's like cryogenic freezing. It's called deep glacier. So if I need to access it, it can't be accessed fast. It's like a 7-day request period. It is in deep cold storage.
It's there though.
But it's cheap. Then I go into Gmail. You would be amazed at how many different things we attach in Gmail attachments.
Yes.
You can search for emails with attachments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm slowly downloading things that you've sent me, things that I've sent you, things on Facebook. In fact, the template that we're working on right now, I was able to recover because I had given it to Mike Dolce to be the host of the show. And I'm like, hey, here, use our template. And there was my Photoshop file as well. I was able to download the PSD. thumb drives. You know, these little thumb drives that you have around and you put
Oh,
something
yes.
on there. You're like, oh, I'm going to get on the airplane and I'm going to write the whole time. I'm going to finish my novel. Found some things on thumb drives. Last but not least, I downloaded some software to look at disaster recovery. It does not look like I will be able to get disaster recovery with any of the consumer grade software. I will be mailing the hard drive out to California to a place that will disassemble it and do some mojo magic on it. The estimate is it will cost them $400 to just take the thing, open it up, look at it, and then if they can save anything, they will charge me according to how many megabytes or gigabytes or terabytes they can save.
Okay, so it's not a total loss.
Well, we don't know if they can rescue it.
But even without that, I mean, you obviously have lost quite a bit of things, but you still have all the other recovery.
Why are you trying to put a happy face on this? What who puts a happy face? Well, look at me. Do I look like I want to have a happy
You
face?
do not look like you're going to be happy, but still, you got to have that silver lining. You did recover some stuff.
I did.
Yes,
I did, and I was able to make the graphics for tonight's show and the PowerPoint. And thank God, because of all the money that we make on the side from this show. The nose of dollars that we've pulled in so far.
Yes, you could just take all the money we make from this show, and you could have just started a whole.
And you know what? I like Matthew's spirit. Matthew Creaky says he liked the show, and so can you.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and then
Matthew, do we have to call him Matthew?
Philip Burnett was uttering some choice words by this point. Indeed. I am. And good luck, buddy. And what face is that, Mike, that you made with the emoji?
That's the kind of I'm sorry face.
Got that face a lot when I was dating. What do you think if we? I think I got that face before it was an official emoji.
It was the buddy.
I don't know. All right, so where do we net out, Mike? In the end, it was an awful experience. What should people do if they find themselves in this scenario? So first, panic.
Yes, obviously. Go eat. Go get something to eat.
Get something to eat. You can always eat your problems away. And amazingly enough, neither of us drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Neither of us drink alcohol. But I was like, I need a drink.
I need a bottle of scotch right now.
I need a bottle of something. What you should also do is learn from my mistake. Mike, I would encourage you, implore you, look into an online backup system. Google Drive is just as good as any, but Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox, they all offer their pros and cons. Relatively inexpensive, but for deep storage, I would recommend AWS. It is not user-friendly, but it's really cheap.
It's cheap, and it's as long as it's recoverable, it's good.
Right. So it's very recoverable. Like I said, you would have to choose the deep glacier storage, but take everything important, Mike, put it into a folder, zip it up, upload it to AWS. I'm telling you, I do terabytes and I pay $4 a month. Get some hard drives. They're pretty cheap. You can get hard drives that don't have to be an encasement. You can just get a raw hard drive and a little plug-in thing. They're a lot less expensive. And people recommend 2 backups. For many years, I did do that. I kept one at my house, one at my father's house. Incidentally, there was nothing at my father's house. But I will tell you, right now, let this be a warning to all of you who are watching, especially my dad, who's there with his impacted teeth that have been extracted. It's a good time to back up, Mike. What are the odds that you will actually back up at this point?
Well, I have most of my stuff on the cloud, so I have that backup right there. So that's done. But there have been times before I had all that I, like you, scanned in all my photos of my family going back to the 70s when we were kids and up until the present moment, hundreds and hundreds of photos, scanned them all in, put them somewhere, perhaps deleted them. Don't know exactly what happened, but they were there. And then I went looking for them, and then they weren't there. So, and I, of course, like you, as soon as I scanned them in, I took the photos and I shredded them. Didn't need them anymore. So there, I did find a group from the 80s, but that's it. All the other ones from way back, the 80s, 90s, 2000s, everything is.
Now let me just caution. So do you pay for Google Drive?
I don't. Well, the cloud, yes, I pay for the cloud. Yeah.
What do you pay for? What do you use?
It's. I'd have to go looking for it. It's just it's just the cloud. It's there.
You don't even know where you're putting your files?
I mean, I know where it is. I'd have to go looking for it, but I'd have to go looking on my computer for it. But it's there.
All right. So I like Google Drive because it's convenient. It synchronizes with Google Photos and Gmail. But let's face it, Google is notorious about just changing their mind. They're like, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. Right? Just think of all the Google Plus and all the things that Google no longer supports. Amazon, Microsoft, Dropbox, these are storage companies. I'm gonna argue that while this is good, oh, by the way, 4 backups, and I'm looking for a home server, but that stuff's expensive. I'm gonna just recommend cloud backup for you, redheaded Ed, because I do think that like Google Drive's good. It's very convenient. We all have Gmail. We all use it a certain way, but Google's the everything company. I think if you want to make a choice, I think you should look into some sort of redundancy system, not one cloud, Mike, but 2 clouds.
Yes.
For important stuff. You're never going to get those photos back. You would be glad that you spent $4 a month to have stored them on AWS.
Yes, that's true.
Right? True. So that's one of the backups you told me about 3 years ago. I know. I am obsessive about backups, which is what caused this problem to begin with. So long and short of the story is backup. Set your calendar to run backups and get backup software and get some drives because this is heartbreaking and it's going to cost me a lot of money to just have them open the hard drive. And then we'll see what comes out of it.
Well, another little silver lining. Now you can just send that 16 terabyte hard drive back and get $250 back.
No, I still need to store all this stuff. I gotta, depending on what I recover. Anyway, thanks for the silver lining. What's a silver lining, Mike? A silver lining is when other people have misfortune. That is called schadenfreude, Mike. That is taking pleasure from other people's misery. And as feeling as disappointed as I was, I wanted you to give me a few examples of things that went worse for other people.
Yes.
So
things have gone much worse for other people.
Yeah, and I asked you to focus on Hollywood. So Mike, give us what is this? Blockbuster store closing.
Yes, Blockbuster is a good one. In the year 2000. When Netflix was just kind of starting, they were just that little video place that, hey, they'd send you their videos and you didn't have to pay rental fees or late fees or anything. Blockbuster was offered the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million. Now, of course, you'd be like, Netflix isn't going to go anywhere. And $50 million is a lot of money. But Blockbuster is like, hey, we're turning this down because you guys are nothing. And we are everything, and we will never go out of business. And
how'd that work out?
Yeah, now Blockbuster is out of business, and Netflix is worth what is it? They're valued at nearly $200 billion. So, if Blockbuster had just been smart and thinking ahead of how technology and all that's going to progress, they would have spent $50 million and still been around.
Question for you, Mike. Do you think Netflix backs up their hard drives?
I bet they back them up quite a bit.
I bet they do too. So I do feel a little better. There was probably a meeting where they were like, dude, what do you think of these guys? They're sending them out by mail. They were probably thinking, and no late fee.
Yeah, it was
A terrible
a bad
sitcom
decision.
based on Blockbuster on Netflix. I feel like that's a meta thing. Hold on. There's a sitcom based on Blockbuster on Netflix. What's it called? I never heard of this.
I
Is it
never
any
heard of
good?
it.
By the way, I'm enjoying Louder Milk. Have you ever watched Louder Milk?
I did not watch Louder Milk.
You would enjoy Louder Milk, Mike.
Is it loud and milk?
It is a sitcom with profanities and all the things that we love, which is just disgusting jokes.
Stupidity.
Blockbuster, I think. Oh,
Ooh.
shouldn't be hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find a Blockbuster store, but you might be able to find it on Netflix. All right, good teller. That is a good recommendation. Okay, Mike, give me a little bit more Schadenfreude.
Good old Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant in 1995 he was not as big as he is now, but he was still pretty big. He had just come off 4 Weddings and a Funeral, I believe. He was dating actress Elizabeth Hurley. So things were doing good. And then in 95, he decided, man, let me just take a little trip down to Sunset Boulevard and pick up a sex worker, which he did. And of course, he got caught. So he was picked up for lewd conduct, and his face was plastered all over the media. He had to go on talk shows and apologize and explain his situation and why he did it and what he was thinking. And for a while, he was really, really kind of down in the dumps and nobody wanted to touch him. He's eventually come back from it, but
he has. I have seen this mugshot many times, and I would love for a body language and expression analyst to tell us what he is saying with that body language right now.
He looks a little tense.
There is like, this guy's been photographed thousands of times. This time he didn't want to be photographed.
The one time. They should have had the sex worker behind him smiling.
Yeah, well, hold on. Let's see. Mike, read this one. I'm going to take a drink here.
I had all 7 years of my animation group's work files downloaded by a coworker, but he connected to Dropbox. When they closed the account, the files weren't on the drive. And they messed us through the drive. What?
Basically, the guy put it on a Dropbox account, and then they closed the account.
Oh, no. Come on, that should be easy to get back. This was my account.
Who knows?
I don't know. Computers. More trouble than they're worth.
Well, okay, so poor Hugh did make his way back. Maybe there's hope for me in recovering from an uncomfortable situation. Speaking of uncomfortable situations.
Yes. I don't know how many have seen X-Men Origins Wolverine. And a little spoiler here. It's a terrible movie, so you shouldn't watch it anyway.
What?
But Ryan Reynolds played the original Deadpool in that movie. And it was a character and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, he had to fight Wolverine, and they made him into what the original thing of Deadpool was. But for some reason, they sewed up his mouth. I mean, he's called the Merc with the Mouth. But for some reason in this movie, they decided, they're going to show up his mouth. And
that is the strangest aspect of all of this. The character is known for his humor and loquaciousness.
Yep.
I'm going to just add that Catilla said boo. And for a fan who goes, oh, that's supposed to be Deadpool, why is his mouth sealed? Had no explanation really that was sufficient. And for viewers who were watching this, they're looking at a guy whose costume looks like it was drawn on by a magic marker.
Which it was.
Right? Like, what happened with that costume? Did Deadpool ever have that costume in any scenario? And was Deadpool's mouth ever sealed in any issue? Because I did not have any awareness of this version of Deadpool.
Yeah, this is one of those things where somebody thinks this is a great idea. He used to talk a lot, so let's just sew his mouth shut. And they think that's a great idea, and so they put it in the movie. They force it to be in the movie, and then you end up with a crap fest like that movie was.
There wasn't a lot of explanation to it. There wasn't like a great reason that you could say you could understand it. But again, silver lining, Mike, turned out to be pretty okay for Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And then in Deadpool 2, when he has his little time machine, he built the time machine that he got from Cable after they fixed it. He goes back and goes into this movie and kills this version of Deadpool.
I don't remember that. Is that in the movie?
It is. It's in one of the end credits. He does a bunch of little time jumps. He also goes back and shoots Ryan Reynolds as he gets the Green Lantern script, and he says, "You're welcome."
I have to go watch that again.
Oh yeah, always watch out the end credits, especially of Deadpool.
I did not know about that one. Okay, Mike. So I think our last one is what's happening here, Mike?
This is George Lucas after he sold or Fox agreed to produce the original Star Wars Episode 4. Lucas was supposed to get a $500,000 salary for doing the movie, and they were fine with that. They're like, "It's great," but he goes, "Look, you won't have to pay me, but I would like the merchandise and sequel rights to Star Wars." And at the time, Star Wars wasn't Star Wars because it hadn't been done yet. Fox was like, "Yeah, sure. No one does merchandising. Maybe they'll do a couple T-shirts." They had no idea that Star Wars was going to be Star Wars. And I mean, 50 years later, it's still, you're still having Star Wars everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, the toys.
Yeah, so they were going to pay. So out of the $500,000 he was supposed to get, he ended up selling Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion. So Fox could have been making money to this day if they had.
Did you know that our favorite toys, Mike, the Mego company, also passed on the Star Wars license as well?
That I did not know.
They did. They went with Logan's Run instead, and then never actually put out the Logan's Run figures. They did the Planet of the Apes.
With them.
Yeah. Yes. So famously, also, and we did an episode on this a couple of years ago. We should put it in the show notes. That the Star Wars comic and Marvel Comics helped each other in the earliest days. Marvel Comics was unsteady in their finances, and publishing Star Wars was something that Stan Lee did not want to do. But Roy Thomas twisted his arm, and they, just as a piece of trivia here, Mike, they put out the first 3 issues leading up to the release of Star Wars. So any kids, mostly kids, were reading comics at that point, who were reading those Star Wars comics only got up to about the half point of the movie, and then word spread and became the first official, second blockbuster after Jaws.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So yeah, Star Wars saved Marvel because they were able to sell like millions, bazillions.
Yep.
And Marvel will never really know how much it helped the Star Wars movie, but with the first 3 issues out, people wanted to see the movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Some of the other movies not as good, Mike.
No.
I thought that's where you were going with this. I wasn't 100% sure. I was thinking maybe the 3 was enough.
No. Well,
some hits and misses in there, right?
There was. I think there's more misses, but it's if they just would have kept it as it was, contained in its own little universe. But hey, makes a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Lucas. He went on to produce great films like Howard the Duck.
Yes. Yes, he
did.
Pacemaker. That was on my list of Hollywood fails to do, but I said no, not doing it.
It is an egregiously bad movie.
Oh, it's horrible.
Hold on, what is this? 9 movies and only 1.5 good. Wow, Gatilla.
That's harsh, Glenn.
Man, come on, Glenn. You got to give it a little bit higher than that. I mean,
there's at least 3 good ones.
Yeah, at least 3 good ones. Yeah, I maybe we should look at some of early superhero movies, the early Captain America with
Oh, Fantastic Four.
the early Fantastic Four, right. So there's a lot there. There's fails and wins all over the place. Mike, I will report back how my hard drive debacle works out.
Well, I hope you recover 100% of it.
I do too, Mike. I do too. It's like sand. It's coarse and gets everywhere. That was very
Star Wars? Is that Star Wars?
Star Wars, right? Star Wars.
It's like sand.
It's like sand. Real quick, Mike. I've still been doing resin. I'm now putting them in blocks. This is a Dr. Doom. Hold on, we'll see. Hold on, let me go. Let me do. See if I can go, big buddy. Here we go. So here's Dr. Doom. I have not polished it up yet, but there's Dr. Doom locked in resin.
Is that a Hero Clicks or just a random figure?
It's a Heroes Clicks.
Okay.
Here's one that went wrong. This one was coming out really good, and then the Silver Surfer dislodged. I was like, oh, this guy will look great underwater. And there you go. So
well, you just gotta shape it so then it's the right ways up.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing the circle one. This is one in a circle again. I have not polished these up yet, but there's Nova.
Is that glitter in there, or is that just the way the
glitter?
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
That's what happened.
There is glitter in there. I love glitter. Sorry. Be a hater if you want. I love glitter. There's glitter everywhere in all my stuff. The best line from Attack of the Clones. Oh, it's like sand. It's course it gets everywhere.
Oh, yes, from Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
So anyway, Mike, I implore everybody to do their backups. I thank everybody for joining, and we send best wishes out to my dad, who is going to be recovering from his tooth surgery. What's his name? Wait a minute. No, Matthew Creaky. No, Matthew Creaky said, I like this video and so can you. So be like Matthew Creaky, yes. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're always happy to see you. We're going to be changing up the format a little bit in the next couple of shows too, Mike. We're going to be bringing you fresh, exciting new things, probably fewer interviews and probably more stuff like this, just us talking and presenting topics and ideas.
Well, you don't want to lose viewers.
No, I'm hoping that we get more viewers. I'm hoping that people spread the word. Spread the word, people. Tell them how much you love it. And we love you guys. Thanks for coming out every Tuesday. You make it worth coming out. And we see you, and we're glad to have you. Mike, we will see you and everyone else next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.